Hi boys and girls, and welcome to Mrs. Roth's Kitchen. We're going to take a look at a little science experiment, the directed inquiry in your science book on page 316. We're going to talk about some properties and density. Okay, so the objects that we need, or rather the substances that we need, are dish soap, corn oil. We have corn syrup that I put in some blue food coloring so that the color would look different from that of the corn oil. And then we have some water, and we need to add some red food coloring to the water. And again, this is just so when the liquids are poured into the cup, we can see the different colors of those liquids. Okay, so let's again take a look, page 316. Materials that we need, again, we have our corn syrup, we have the dishwashing liquid, we have water with the red food coloring, we have corn oil. We need a cup, we need a paper clip, piece of styrofoam, a little styrofoam peanut, and a piece of a rubber band. And yes, if you can see it, it is a purple rubber band. Okay. So let's get started, and we're just going to go through the steps right here in your book. And number one tells us to pour in each liquid in the order that they are listed in the materials section. So looking at the way they are listed on the left-hand side, that's the order that we're going to be pouring the liquids into the cup. Now, because these liquids are made up of different properties, that will allow them to form layers. Now, we're going to be looking at density because what we want to do is we want to see which of these liquids has the highest density and which has the lowest. Now, in order to understand density, think about going into a pool. If you go into a pool, you go in, and what would happen? In a sense, you kind of sink to the bottom of the pool. Why? Because you are more dense than the water that's in the pool. And then what happens for children who need to wear swimmies? They put those swimmies on, and those swimmies help them to float. Those swimmies, in a sense, help the child to be less dense than the water that they're in, giving them the ability to float. So here we're going to look at these different liquids, adding them one at a time. And I need you to be thinking about which one do you think is going to be most dense. Now, the liquid that's most dense would be where? It's going to be the one that falls to the bottom. And the liquid that is least dense, well, that's going to be the one that's on the top. After those liquids are put into the cup, one at a time, we'll take a look at the liquids and see which is most dense, which is least dense, and then we'll take a look at what happens when we add the objects to the liquids as well. Okay, so let's start. First thing we need to do is to add the corn syrup. As I said, this is a corn syrup with just some blue food coloring. So I'm going to pour in a bit of corn syrup. I want you to be able to see. Okay, so there's the corn syrup. Next, we need to add the dishwashing liquid. Okay, our dishwashing liquid is green, so hopefully we'll be able to see the green. Okay. Next, we need to add, let me just stir this a little bit. We need to add the water with the red food coloring. Okay. And the next one is to add the corn oil. Oh my, corn oil is not even opened yet. Okay. We need to just give that a moment to kind of settle. I know the colors are a little bit difficult for you to see. But again, we want to, just give it a minute for that oil to settle in there. So again, we're looking to see which of these liquids is the most dense and which of the liquids is the least dense. The most dense one would be the one that would be all the way to the bottom, and the one that is least dense would be the one that's on the top. Okay, so I'm going to help you out. I'm not sure. I think you should be able to see the colors, but I'll help you out here. We have the blue at the bottom, and remember in this case the blue is actually the corn syrup. Then I'm not sure if you can see, but right above the blue is the green, which was our dishwashing liquid. Next is the red, which was the water. And then on top, it's kind of this funny color actually, is the corn oil. So you can see the different layers here. Again, we have corn syrup at the bottom, dish detergent, then we have water, and then we have oil. Take a look down at question number 1. Based on these observations then, which liquid has the greatest density? Okay, the one that's down at the bottom, which in this case is corn syrup. Okay, and then the second part of the question asks, which of these liquids has the lowest density? The lowest density is going to be the liquid that's on the top, and in this case, the one that's on top is oil. Okay. And then of course it does ask, well, how do you know then which has the highest density and which has the lowest density? Well, because things with higher density are going to sink, where those with the lower density are going to rise above that. Okay, so again, corn syrup being greatest density or having the highest density, and the oil having the lowest density. Now we also have the 3 objects. Okay, and we're told then to gently drop in a small paper clip. Okay, that's step number 3. Gently drop in the small paper clip. Here's my paper clip. Drop it in. See what happens to it. Where do you think it's going to go? Will it work its way through all of the objects? Will it go to the bottom? Where is it going to go? Okay. Not sure that you're able to see it from your point of view here, but the paper clip is down here in the blue. It's actually pretty difficult for me to spot it, but I do see it's down here. Okay, so it's down there in the corn syrup. So it did go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, now we're told to drop in a piece of styrofoam. Okay, there is the styrofoam. Not sure that you can, there you go. You can see the styrofoam here. And then the last thing that we're told to drop in is a piece of rubber band. And so we drop that in, and the rubber band has made its way through the oil. And I'm watching it. Here we go. It's made its way through the oil, through the water. It's actually down here right now in the dish detergent. Okay, so it's right here in this little bit of green. You can see the rubber band, or I can see, and I'm telling you, I'm sharing that with you, that it is here. You have to trust me on that. It's in here on the where the green soap is, the green dish detergent. I think you kind of see a little bit of a dark spot here. That is the rubber band, the piece of the rubber band. So of those 3 objects then, which of those 3 objects has the greatest density? Well, again, the one that's furthest down, which in this case is the paper clip. And then which of these 3 objects has the least density or the lowest density? And that is the styrofoam. And we know that because it's still here on top. And remember that those things that have greater density are going to drop lower, and then those of least density or less density are going to rise above. Okay? All right. So that is today's science lesson. This is our e-learning lesson for Friday, March the 27th. I hope you had some fun following along. Again, it is one that you can do at home with your parents' permission. I'm sure they have most of these objects or substances at home. You might not have corn syrup, but maybe you do have some pancake syrup. You can try that, see how that works. How does that fit in? Does it follow the same? You can use some different liquids that you find in the kitchen. See what else you might want to use. Try it and see. If you do an activity on your own, report back to me. Let me know what liquids you used. What did you find out? Which is least dense, which is more dense. Okay? You don't need to do these. You saw how this worked. Try something else. Make some predictions about what you think. How are things going to work out? How does it compare to what we did? And share with us, and then maybe we can come back and do a follow-up with someone else's idea. So send me some good ideas, and who knows, maybe we can do your experiment here in Mrs. Roth's kitchen. Have a good day. See you later. Bye. Okay, see, it doesn't want me to leave you. I can't shut it off. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, well, my